Hello everyone, my name is Alma Tilis and I'm a software engineering student at Makerere University. I'm going to be taking you through the AI project you have been working on, which is the counseling buddy. So we are officially introducing to you the counseling buddy. The target customers of counseling buddy are therapists, counselors, and mental health professionals. What is counseling buddy? Counseling buddy is a software is an AI system that detects micro expressions on clients during the counseling sessions and is able to give a prompt to the therapist on what to do next, or let's say it gives a suggestion. Let's say ask more questions on this topic because the client disengagement increase uh, because of, let's say, lowered gaze, or yeah, something like that. Um, Let me just put this on slideshow. Oh. So, a short video to demonstrate our project is on this link, this YouTube link, so you can watch that. The objective of this system is to address the gap between observable client behavior and the therapist's real-time actionable feedback on clients' internal feedback. Most times during the counseling and therapy sessions, counselors tend to focus more on verbal communication and ignore um, the behavior of the counselors. Those are the nonverbal cues, the micro expressions. But these micro expressions really contain the true emotional internal or the emotional or the internal state of the client, and missing them out is not really good because it leads to like a low level counseling session, which is really bringing a loophole in the psychotherapy industry. What is the core problem? Nonverbal signals like the microexpressions, gaze shifts often contain critical information about a client's true emotional state, the level of engagement, or even resistance, but these are usually ignored during the therapy sessions. Who experience it most? Therapists, counselors, and mental health professionals as primary users, and then the clients as secondary users. Why is AI essential here? AI is essential here because it institutes or constitutes complex reasoning, pattern recognition, and inference that goes far beyond simple automation. Nonlinear pattern recognition of the behaviors, inference, and then reasoning and real-time adaptation using knowledge graphs. What is the measurable impact? Improved client therapist interaction, that's one, and then improved mental health treatment generally, and reduced therapy sessions. Like clients will spend more time, I mean less time, and then therapists will also spend less time during this session because they'll hit the target or what brought the clients to them. The primary users are the therapists, counselors, mental health professionals, and practitioners. The secondary users are the clients or the patients, and then the therapeutic institutions. The ecosystem roles, we have data suppliers. Their role is to generate and normalize testing and training data. API consumers or the integrators, their work is to integrate the AI systems output to electronic healthcare records. Algorithm designers and developers, yes, they are going to train and validate the system against cultural relevant nonverbal cues. The platform maintainers, then the governance entities like the Ministry of Health, National Information Technology Authority, that's NITA Uganda. Then the data types you're using are text, images, and videos. The sources, the open data sets we got from from Hugging Face. Then proprietary collections, the ones we collected from the School of Psychology here at Makerere University. The processing pipeline, we collected, we cleaned the data annotations, we validated, and then after everything, we store the results. ethical and legal framework, compliance with National Data Protection Act, then informed consent and anonymization. The value mechanism is this is how the data directly or indirectly contributes to commercial or social value. We are going to look at that shortly. The objective is to develop a real-time effective intelligence system to support psychotherapy by continuously analyzing client nonverbal cues during sessions. The methods we use and the algorithms are the large vision models, vision transformers, and knowledge graphs. The model inputs and outputs include images and videos of different nonverbal cues. The output is the inferred clinical state, such as customer disengagement increasing and probation of the therapist. For example, ask a question on this or speak to the client, ask him to elaborate more on this. How does the AI generate decisions or insights? The nonverbal cues are detected, yes, they are mapped and interpreted to the behaviors over time, and then clinical inference or the reasoning is provided to justify a given insight. How does it integrate with user workflows, existing system or APIs? There is unexplainable feedback, which is displayed on the therapist tablet, then the API to log session, and integration through simple data exports. What responsible AI mechanisms are embedded? Behavioral evidence, yes, because it's a given microexpression was detected or a sustained case aversion. The cultural sensitivity, we are retraining the data on Ugandan-based datasets because currently the datasets we use are not really from Uganda, but the ones we managed to collect some Ugandan-based from the local therapists we have here, but they were not really enough. So we are looking at retraining, collecting more of the datasets from Uganda and then retraining the model. The technical metrics, latencies, that's the inference and speed. It takes about 500 milliseconds to get a given insight or feedback, causing no lag during the session. The footprint, the model size after distillation is below 250 MBs. The F1 score and accuracy, the nonverbal cues, the detection is the accuracy is greater than 85%. Then the therapy trust, systems explainability and unobtrusiveness, we rated it at 4.5 out of 5. Yes, and then on a scale of asking if the feedback was helpful without being distracted. Adoption rate, according to the trained counselors we have, there's 70% showing utility. Then the likelihood to recommend is greater than 50%. The ethical metrics is fairness in terms of age, gender, ethnicity, because the data sets we use, like about 5% of each group is represented in the dataset. Interpretability, attention heat maps align with the underlying feature contributions. Then the PDPO compliance, we are regularly auditing according to the guidelines we have from PDPO. Then the customer acquisition cost as the business metrics, we are projecting the cost for sign up to be 150,000 shillings per therapist. Then the lifetime value will be 3 times the customer acquisition cost. We can ask, when there be some therapists and counselors who will stop using the system, what you're projecting is it will be less than 10% of the therapists per year who will stop using this, less than 10%. Then unfair advantage and differentiation. We are using therapy-specific knowledge graphs, and this links the multimodal behaviors to standardized clinical states, which is unavailable in the general purpose AI. That's the beauty with counseling body. Then the clinical NGO, University and Uganda Counseling Association partnership, we are looking at creating partnerships with all these clinical NGOs and different universities for data collection, validation, and deployment piloting. Then the continuous annotation refinement for strength with time, embedded cultural logic, knowledge graph reasoning engine is the core competitive language in our system. Then the channels and distribution, acquisition channels, we're looking at academic and clinical webinars, referring programs and NGO showcases. Delivery channels, mobile or tablets, yes, and web apps, yes. Then the partnership, collaboration with, yes, I already talked about that. Retention tactics, continuous model updates, gamified learning for performance feedback, community support for troubleshooting and collecting contextual feedback. Revenue streams, how are we going to earn money? How are we going to commercialize this? Direct revenue models, those are subscriptions. We are providing it as software as a service. That's like 100,000 shillings per month. And then the licensing fees per year, we're going to pay like 2 million. And then the indirect revenue models, that is data as a service, and also consulting services. We are going to provide all those services. Then the premium and tiered access, we're going to provide a free basic version features, the paid premium analytics, and then the custom deployments. Then the value added streams and the sponsored research, seeking grants, analytics, dashboards, and white labeled AI tools. The resources, we have the human resources, those are the engineers, the researchers, the designers, the user interface designers, then the technical infrastructure, the cloud storage, which we're using Render for the time being, then the data infrastructure, generative AI tool kit for GPUs and TPUs for training guns, then the organizational resources. We have the Ministry of Health, we have the NGOs, we have Makerere University. The financial resources, we are seeking seed funding and the grants, the venture capital, and strategic partnerships. The key activities, we have model lifecycle activities, consent from clients and counselors for us to record and process non-verbal cues, training local counselors on how to label data, implementing GANs and diffusion models, and then knowledge distillation and quantization to reduce the large LVM size for use on small Android tablets. Then product development activities, we are going to integrate facial action units and skeletal pose, gaze, vectors, and prosody embeddings into a cohesive input stream. Operational activities, governance and compliance, conducting bias and fairness assessments, audits to ensure the model is accurate. Those are the PDP or audits. Then the customer focus activities. We shall offer technical support for hardware and software. Then we shall also actively collect feedback from pilot therapists. The objectives, those are from the key partners. The technology partners, that's the cloud service providers, which are using Render, API platforms, the AI research labs, which we are glad to have Makerere University in this. The data partners, Makerere University School of Psychology, and different NGOs and government bodies. The ethical oversight partners, Personal Data Protection Office, that's PDPO, and then NITA. Distribution partners, Uganda Counseling Association, and then also the telecommunication companies like MTN, Airtel. The strategic collaborators, we are blessed with Mark Unipod. And the cost structure, data costs 15 million annually for labeled datasets and data collection. Computation and infrastructure costs, hybrid cloud plan with GPU credit. We are projecting 10 million shillings per quarter. That's like 30 million shillings per year. Then human resource costs, how much are we going to pay our workers? It will be depending on the terms we have signed with them and the discussions we have had with them. The compliance and legal cost, the ethical audit, security compliance and certifications. Then the marketing and distribution cost, this will also depend on how like first of all, we are going to sponsor like AI weeks, and then also FinTech Inclusion Expos. We're also going to apply for the different expos and then attend them and showcase the innovation that we have. Then the maintenance and scaling costs, continuous retraining, model optimization, and then cloud scaling. Governance model, how does it align with the ethics and comply with the different clinical let's say the different models. For example, how does it comply with the Clinical AI Oversight Committee for accessibility standards, fairness and bias auditing? How transparent is the system? How explainable is the system? Legal and ethical frameworks, accountability, like feedback channel for community correction and model refinement. Then the scalability framework, we're going to deploy on modular cloud microservices, which is expandable to regional servers. Continuous learning, we're going to update continually. Localization, we're going to use different data sets from different parts of Uganda so that the system can be used in any part of Uganda. Then financial sustainability. This is a hybrid revenue model, which I already talked about in the previous slides. Then the environmental responsibility. At the hardware, we're going to use energy efficient. Do they affect the environment? No, they don't. We are going to install a carbon footprint monitoring system so that we and also continuously track the cloud compute. The resilience, there will be an offline operation system so that our users can use this system even when there's no internet connection. Then the algorithms and logic, we use knowledge graph reasoning engine. The source code and model, LVM, that's int8 for the 8 devices. Then is the system patentable? Yes, as a novel system and method because of the unique method for converting LVM outputs into clinically actionable insights. Is it copyrightable? Yes. Is it protectable? Yes, for confidentiality as a trademark. This is the contributions from the team members. As I said before, I'm Alma Dilis and I handled the research and development, and my friend Philip also handled the research and development. Thank you all for listening and for watching this video.